Good morning, y'all. Hope you all are enjoying the first week of summer. For you guys, summer has just begun. But for us, it has been summer for a while. So just wanted to say, hey, this is the time of day when I'm actually somewhat awake. And I had my breakfast and I'm in a good mood. And I don't feel like I'm overworked. But talk to me in about 12 hours and that will change. So this, where I'm standing now, is our old apple orchard, and we're right at the end of our property line. And we are in the process of clearing it to make it a new apple orchard. So right behind me, if you can see that, so our apple trees that are on the farm already are over, they have to be over 40 years old because the previous owner of this farm never stepped foot on this side of the farm. They let it go completely wild. So this hasn't had any humans on it or farm animals for over 40 years. So before, I don't know how long ago, but at one time it was an actual working farm. And this was all pasture, from what I understand from people explaining what it looked like who lived here a long time ago. So this has all gotten overgrown. This is what happens after 40 some years of not having any farming or anything done on here. So we want to keep it fairly close to what it is now, only we're getting rid of a bunch of the canopy trees. So a lot of the trees that, like the one that's right here, you can see that one right there. So what happens is in the wild, trees keep reaching for the sun and they kind of make an umbrella or a canopy, and they end up by shading everything on the ground. So as far as my goats and sheep are concerned, they obviously want something that they can reach. So we take our loppers and slowly we walk through the apple orchard, and we cut down the canopy trees so that more light can reach the ground, and more food for our goats and sheep. So that's what we're doing first, and we're also making it so that we can actually walk through this part. So when I first bought this farm, it literally took a day for us to move about 5 feet, which sounds totally ridiculous, but it's because all of these little tiny shrubs basically were everywhere, and you really could not walk at all. And we have these wonderful things called primrose and blackberry bushes, which will take skin and not give it back. So we definitely had very slow going at first, but now we're actually able to get all the way to the end of our property line. And unfortunately we found out last year that when it was a working farm, they had barbed wire up for the entire perimeter of this farm, which I do not like at all. And unfortunately it still remains in part of our farm, so we need to get rid of that. I can only imagine how many wild animals have gone through this barbed wire when they were running. It's because it's so covered in brush, you don't notice it until you are right on top of it. So I make sure that our goats and sheep stay away from that area, and we are putting in actual fencing. We can't put it in right now because we have fawns on the ground, and I don't want the mothers to get removed from their fawns. So we have to wait until the fawns are at the age where they will stay with their moms, and so that way I can make sure that the fawns don't accidentally get trapped in our fencing. So, and I really hate electric fencing during fawn season, because fawns, because they're so young, they could easily get strangled in our electric fence. Even though it's on, what happens to a bunch of baby animals is when they get a shock, they actually run and jump forward, which means that they could get entangled in the fencing. So with our goats and sheep, we actually have a training period when they're kids, and lambs, and we put them in a small enclosed yard with our electric fence, and they have to have the bad experience of getting shocked. And I get shocked all the time. It is not going to kill anyone. It actually isn't going to hurt anyone, but it definitely scares the bejesus out of you. And that's what has to happen to all of these kids. They need to be afraid of the fence. And once they're afraid of the fence, they won't go anywhere near it. So that is something that we do as soon as our kids are running around. And it's nice out. We have them in our small enclosure with their moms, and of course, because they're so curious, they have no problem walking up to the fence. They'll do that once, at the most twice, give a loud scream, and then you know that, okay, you know the fence is not for you. So, but we can't do that to our wild fawns, because since we don't get to observe them doing it, I would hate to have them get strangled in the fence. So just some things. I'm kind of a wimp when it comes to doing farm stuff. I don't want to hurt any animals, and I do believe in that mantra, do no harm. So yeah, so we can't, it's kind of a pain, because right now is when I would love to have the fence enclosed around our orchard, apple orchard, and then I don't have to follow the sheep, or they don't have to follow me. I could just let them stay in the enclosed part of the farm, but I can't do that right now because it's not enclosed. And we do have coyote, bobcat, black bear, foxes. Thank goodness we don't have mountain lions yet. There are mountain lions in the Adirondacks, but they're not in the Catskills yet. But all they have to do is cross the Mohawk River, and then we'll have them. There have been people who said that they've had sightings of mountain lions, but the DEC still stand by their statement that there are no mountain lions in the Catskills. So once they cross the Mohawk River or the Delaware River, then we're in trouble. I don't like mountain lions. I love them to see, but mountain lions are the one predator that actually will attack dogs, domesticated dogs, and people. They will hunt them. You've heard reports of that. Coyotes, black bear, and foxes don't want anything to do with us, and don't really want anything to do with our goats and sheep, unless there are some helpless kids or lambs. Then they have to worry. We lose a lot of fawns every year to predators, and it's always at the time when the fawns are laying down, and they're so young that they can't keep up with their moms, and the predators just happen to walk on them. and then that's it. Yeah, just some. Love to give all this useless information that doesn't really help anyone, but just if you like me and like to know all this crazy information about nature. So this is actually why I bought the farm. I never intended on being a producer. So my goal was never to be in supermarkets or have anything that I can produce on a large scale. My interest is actually in doing more natural things. I love nature and I love animals. So that's kind of how I got into this farming. But my goal is actually to have people come to the farm who love the same things that I love. If you love to be out in nature and see how things were hundreds of years ago, then you have to come to our farm. So slowly we're working on getting our farm. I actually thought that by now I would have the working farm thing down and I would have the bed and breakfast up and running, so that I could have farm guests come and do the same thing that I'm doing, just hang out with the animals and get your farm fix on. But it's taken a lot longer. And also, one thing I never added in the equation was farm help. I did not realize how hard it is to find good farm help. I think a lot of the kids nowadays, oh, those are my chickens. I think they don't think about doing physical work anymore. I actually love doing physical work, and I'm in my 50s. And the only prerequisite for anyone who comes to work on the farm is you have to keep up with me. And if you're 20 and you can't keep up with a 55-year-old, then I think maybe you need to work on that. Yeah, so that's one of the things that's really hard to find. And unfortunately, in this area, farming is kind of getting more and more extinct. I live on a road here that used to be all farms. Used to have farms on every single property, but that's changed now. Now we have people who bought farms just to have wide open property. So a lot of the farmland is now just residential homes. So things have definitely changed around here. It would be great if it went back to being farms again, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. Yeah, so I think that's it. I'm going to walk around some more with my Rumies, and they end up by staying with me the whole time. And then I'm going back and having my lunch. So hope you all are enjoying your summer, and I look forward to seeing you guys on the farm at some point. If you are local and you know someone that would like to be a farmhand, please contact me. And we also have volunteers that come and do what I'm doing right now, just hanging out with the goats and sheep. And if you love nature and you love being out in nature, you would love to just be out here where I am now. I wish I could do this all the time, just hang out with the Rumies and see nature. And there's so much here to see if you're into nature. So yeah, that's it. Hope you all enjoy your week, and I'll see you soon. Love you. Bye.